up, everybody? This is Dario Hunt from Living Life Fearless. With me, as always, is my co-host, Doris Walker. And we have special guest, Josh Epstein from Junior. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So we're just going to do a little live artist talk and kind of talk about, some of your band history, stuff you've been working on. You have a new EP coming out, obviously the NBA, and the restart about that, and, just kind of have a good time. So we'll just get right into it. Your band history. You were originally called Dale Earnhardt Jr. Can you kind of go into why you were Dale Earnhardt and why you kind of shifted the name to just Junior?
Yeah, so Dan and I, we were both in other bands. I had been in a band that we toured for 6 years, but we did it all on our own. We were, sleeping on people's floors and sleeping. We had built like a bunk bed in the back of our van, sleeping in the van. So as an experiment, I wanted to try and write an album with someone else who was like a songwriter and singer. Versus playing with people who specialize in other instruments.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and it was kind of a joke to us. So we decided to call the band Dale Earnhardt Jr., and then we just put up a MySpace page, and then that band ended up doing so much better than the other bands that we were in that it ended up kind of being the full focus of our energies for 3 years.
And I heard you guys actually had gotten a letter from Dale Earnhardt.
We did.
About the name.
I sent him a letter to let him know that we weren't making fun of him, just so that he wouldn't sue us. And he did send us a letter, and he's like, I'll never sue you. And he thought it was he said that some of the other drivers were making fun of him, and but he was really cool. He's always been cool. He actually someone that works for him bought up a bunch of our merch when we were changing the name, just so that he could have a bunch of stuff that said Dale Jr.
That's pretty cool. That'd be a pretty cool, feeling to have that kind of stamp of approval from somebody like him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he seems like a pretty good guy too, which makes me feel better about the association.
Yeah, you haven't heard too much. I haven't really ever heard anything bad about him, so I mean, it's not a bad name to have.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever do any project associated with NASCAR or anything like that? Because you guys do a lot of thematic type of, projects or songs.
No, we didn't. I mean, I've never been into auto racing.
Right.
And I think that was kind of why it was funny to name ourselves that, because neither of us had ever watched NASCAR, and I still, I can't watch. It's so boring. I don't know how people.
Now the most NASCAR watched was Talladega Nights.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think at some point we still do want to, because I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. plays drums, and we do want to have him play drums with us on a TV show or something.
That would be amazing.
That's the goal.
That'd be epic.
That'd be pretty epic. So when did you guys actually decide to kind of just drop Dale Earnhardt, or just go by Junior?
I think our third album, it was people thought we were a joke or something. And so every time anyone would ask us to do something, it was why don't you, come out and drive go-karts around while you sing your song? Or I feel like the attention was too much on the name, and, we felt we wanted to stop answering questions about the band name, and still there on album 3. So we decided that we had to just kind of change it, which, who knows? It might have screwed our career up in that the third album ended up having our first hit song on it. So when we had our first hit song, I feel there's half of the people that know us from that, and then the other know us from before. And a lot of times people don't realize that it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the names are pretty similar. I feel like it's a natural transition, Hopefully those fans, I feel especially with your sound and the type of music you guys make, I think that they'll easily have transitioned over. But I don't know if you want to talk about that song, that first big hit that you were talking about.
Oh yeah, it's called Gone. And it's weird because we were on Warner Brothers, and that was our third album, and obviously, when you're on a major label, they want you to have some some financial success.
Yeah.
And so I think it might have set a record at the time because it didn't get into the top 10 on the radio until it was like 48th week, which is
wow.
kind of crazy. Like it just kind of was like really, really slow. I feel like it's an analogy for our whole career. Like it's never gone down. It's just been really slow.
Slow and steady.
Hey. And that was, I think it was in a movie soundtrack it made it to.
Yeah, it was in Sausage Party in the trailer. So we got to go to the premiere for that. That was actually
Oh, that's cool. You went to the premiere. What was that like at the premiere? Just like, did you get to talk to anybody?
Yeah, well, so we got to walk the red carpet, and then but we were just so uncomfortable that we like brought props. So we like brought like a bunch of bananas and like pineapples and stuff. It was really weird. But I got to meet Danny McBride and Craig Robinson.
Oh, let's go.
Cool. Yeah, they were. I mean, you know, like it was just. I have like a lot of respect for the film industry and like all the weird stuff those people have to do to promote their movies. You know?
Yeah.
But it was fun. I mean, it was a really cool experience. And yeah, that it kind of got into a lot of things actually. It was I can't even remember all of them, but it was in like a bunch of commercials and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you guys have had a few hits that have made it into like soundtracks, like 13 Reasons Why, and I think a couple times you've done 13 Reasons Why now, and commercials and everything else you're doing. I'm sure that's got to have like be a really good feeling, like hearing your music being played like on that level.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of grew up like I started playing music in like the late 90s, and so at that time I think it was like people still didn't want to, like it was like selling out, you know, if you like license songs.
Yeah.
But now I think it's like the complete opposite, and I'm grateful that like so many corporations and, you know, bigger like television shows and movies are supporting artists, you know, because like especially now we can't tour, so the majority of our income is from stuff
Licensed stuff. That's got to be a nice feeling having that kind of in your back pocket, at least, especially now.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I think our music is a little bit tough to like put into a genre because it's kind of all over the place sometimes. But I think that tends to then work for like in scenes for a TV show, or in, you know, it's a little bit different sounding. While it's like hard to categorize, I think it like works well in scenes or, you know, in a commercial.
It's awesome. And you've also had, you know, experiences on like Conan and the Late Show with James Corden.
Yeah. Those I'm always so nervous. But Corden was cool last time. I'm friends with Reggie, who is his like band leader.
Okay, yeah.
He was here yesterday. But I was asking him if he remembered us being on that show, and he said he did, because it was like I was like so nervous that it was like weird.
He remembered you for that.
It's like, oh yeah, you were that really nervous weird dude on this. Yeah.
I mean, it is nerve-wracking because, you know, especially like as a performer, you know that's like one of the things that's going to live online forever and
Ever.
And you only get one try, you know.
Yeah. You don't want to pull what was Ashley Simpson? I think, was that the one? She was on Saturday Night Live. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But then there was another one. My friend was tour managing a band. I won't say who they are, but they started their song and their singer started singing in the wrong key. And so then when the band came in, it was just this really weird thing. And so the tour manager went and kicked over an amp, because the only way you can like retape it is if something bad happened.
That's so sick.
They didn't let them because they thought they saw him do it. You know, they're like, screw that. And
yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So it's just a mess all around. Did they still end up actually airing that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they had.
Wow.
That's nuts.
Wow.
Oh, I gotta find that. See if I can like hear or see the disturbance in the back, like with the amp. Like,
I'll tell you who it is after.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So I mean, we did. I did go back and watch those performances, just kind of see, live performance on national television. And from what I've seen, you guys killed it. You guys did really well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think it's muscle memory.
Yeah. Once you
You know?
get going, kind of like get into it.
Yeah, I mean that it's also like the danger of being a musician because like my girlfriend's a comedian, and so she goes up and like just has to talk to people.
Yeah.
But she's also kind of like having to think on the fly and figure out what people are, and like I just go up and play a thing I've played a million times. Sometimes I think about what I'm going to cook for dinner while I'm doing it. I don't have to think about it. It's a totally different thing.
It's just getting past that kind of that initial kind of nerves and getting into it. It's kind of like with sports, you go into a big game, like a little nervous. Once you get that first action, it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing now,
Yeah, I mean, it's also, it's such a vain thing. Like, like, I don't know, did you guys hear Kanye talking about how like he was on medicine and the medicine made him fat and that's why he doesn't want to take it?
Yeah.
So like I can kind of relate to that because like I'm just going off of an anxiety medicine that like the reason I'm like that, I gained like 10 pounds because I just you can't get rid of it, but at the same time, I think that it's irresponsible and selfish to not like figure out how to deal with yourself, like just to let it go for a vain reason and then like hurt people or like, impact other people's lives negatively seems really selfish to me. And that's like part of the entertainment industry that you can't see until you've been in it for a little bit and you're like a little bit older and wiser, I think.
Yeah, it's Kanye's it's a unique it's hard to like even really talk about him because at the same time, like Greg said, like he has all these well-known issues, but then it like also like reoccurring things that just keep happening over and over and over. It's like a reoccurring cycle. And at one point, you feel like sympathetic towards that, like him dealing with those issues. And at the same time, it's like how he also has like extreme vein issues himself that like he refuses to even kind of acknowledge. So it's like, how do you even really kind of approach that issue with him sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, he like I heard from an acquaintance that was at some kind of dinner or something with him that like she actually thought that he was like he hears voices.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And like that's like that's like psychological. Like he's so fucking talented, but like just that's like scary. You gotta.
Yeah. It's very terrifying watching him now. Like whenever he opens his mouth, it's like, oh man, I don't know what's gonna happen right now. Like
it's scary for sure. You don't know because it what he says just happens to affect everybody's day. Like no matter what.
And he's so big, like just as a star that it's global. Like everything he says is basically global. It just reaches around the world, and it's like it'd be terrifying to even imagine being like associated with him closely and like, man, I don't know what's gonna happen right now when he's coming out here about to do this. Like, yeah.
Because people like interview you, like if you were close friends with him and we knew that, like we'd be like, so are you gonna go to Wyoming? Have you talked to him? Like what you've been doing to like help him? Do you think he's all right? Like what like everybody gets put on the spot for it now that's like associated.
And no one's qualified to talk about it.
Oh.
Right, yeah.
Like I didn't even talk about it. It's like I don't know, man. Like I just hope he's like wish him the best, but I don't know.
For real.
I mean, he's so talented creatively. I mean, even like fashion, like his stuff's cool. He's just like, I don't know. I think hopefully, you don't have to be that tortured to be a good artist.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's like some sort of midpoint. Cause it'd be scary if like everyone who's creative gets the leeway to like do what he does. Like imagine if everyone famous was just out there being a fucking monster.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, thank you.
I mean, I think there's definitely something to say about having that kind of torture, darkness, like within an artist that kind of helps certain artists in their music, but also there's a lot of artists that are extremely talented that don't have that aspect to them. So it's like, I think the tortured artist is a bit overblown because there's a ton of genius level artists out here that you don't see, going on presidential rallies saying like Harriet Tubman didn't free slaves and stuff like that. So
The political stuff is the weirdest. I mean, it's just weird.
it's very weird these days. Like everything's political now. Like music, everything is just like, you don't like Kanye. You're a great artist. Like you're a great, creative, but you don't need to be involved in everything. Like
I mean, I think that like we are in a weird place socially where like it's almost like I think everyone constantly thinks like this can't happen here, this is America, it's still gonna always be a democracy and be free. And I think that like that kind of lulls people into a state of complacency, and I think we're kind of at a point where you have to be engaged at least.
you have to now, yeah, because it's so crazy.
But that's why I think that like the NBA is the coolest. It's so cool because they're using the platform. Like I was watching the other day and thinking like, imagine being like a kid whose dad is the Trump supporter and being a huge LeBron fan and being like, Dad, what? LeBron's like said that like Black Lives Matter is like Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
Like, why do you not think that? Like, I think that's a powerful cultural thing, it's
Very
like,
good. Yeah.
so I don't know. I can see it impacting everything so positively.
Yeah, definitely. Like, well, that makes me. I have like two questions from that. Like, one was like, is Kanye maybe like a musical influence in terms of like just like I don't know, auto-tune, electrical sort of like crossover beat making style? Not so much like his vocals, but do you ever look at him in terms of your?
Oh my God, yeah. Kanye is one of the best producers ever. Like even when he still is just like producing and not like numbers on the boards, push it to
Yeah.
like that's like so it's brilliant. He's just so good. Yeah, he loses me. Like I went to his last show on his last tour, and he had me. I was like, super into it, and then he like gave this like speech for like 20 minutes about how he's old, and I was just like fuck this.
Right. I came here for the genius, not the rant. Like,
and it didn't make any sense. It was like it's just incoherent.
Yeah. Who are some of your other influences, like musically?
I think the Beach Boys were like one of the first.
Yeah.
Apparently when I was a kid, I listened to Alvin and the Chipmunks, and my parents like hated that so much that they like gave me the actual like songs, that they
Yeah.
Beach Boys were like one of the first things. And then I got into kind of like weirder Chicago like indie rock stuff, like Tortoise and the Sea and Cake, and then I got into like when like Snoop Dogg came out with like his first album, and then there was like The Chronic,
Yeah.
and then Tupac and Biggie. Like I feel like I was just such a hip hop fan then, and then kind of like got back into folkier stuff a little bit late. And yeah, now I think I like to listen to people who have something to say.
Yeah.
And music's like less of a party accessory to me than it was at a certain point in my life.
Right.
I feel like a lot of pop music just went to like, pop of every genre went to like just like party accessory.
Basically, yeah. Festivals, whatever is gonna play the biggest, and yeah,
like or like what you could play in a club, what you could play, when people are over at your house. Like, like it's like I even think to some extent like when you're driving in your car, like what are you gonna play? That like if you're like I don't know, like a lot of people like still have like bass in their car and stuff. It's like sometimes music's an accessory in that way, but lately I've been more just into like the more more artful artists.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
But I did like the Fushnikins and Shaq.
yeah, he did go platinum. He did go platinum.
You see when he like that there's like footage online where he like tried to stage dive and like no one.
No, I did not see that. That should never be a thing. Shaq stage diving.
there is a video on YouTube and he like stage dives and he like gets up and he's like bleeding and it's awesome.
I was like, there's no way they caught him. Like, there's no way.
Oh no! You all got out of the way, like
You just literally kill somebody.
Yeah.
So no Eminem influence there from Detroit.
Nope. No. I never cared really. I mean, he's fine, but I knew some people that like worked with him, and you know. I mean, I hate Kid Rock with everything.
Hey, I'm right there with you.
Everything.
Hey, all right. Well, it's nice to hear somebody from Detroit say that.
I mean, he's the worst kind of racist because he got famous for being a rapper.
Yeah, basically from the culture, and then that's what everybody's confused. Like, wait, didn't you get famous from rap? Like, what's going on here?
For real.
Yeah, and also, I knew. When Ba with the Ba was big, like I knew this girl who worked at like a nightclub, and she said that he would come in and give like the cute servers like $2,000 for a tip for the night, but then like people that played in his band, he was like so stingy with them. So that kind of like made me think he was a dick too.
Oh wow! So you just that's weird. I hate people like that, but that's about right. That's what I've heard about that guy.
Yeah, like in his band. He's not gonna take care of you really, but if there's a possibility that him giving you a big tip is gonna like, make it seem like he's like a big guy around town, then he'll do it.
Yeah.
And he always used to say before he was famous, he used to say, if you act like you're king shit, eventually people think you're king shit.
I could definitely see him doing that. So, what's the Detroit music scene like?
I haven't been there for a bit, so I'm a little out of touch with it. I think it's in general like all over the place because we have like there's so many influences in Detroit. Like there's Slum Village, J Dilla, then like Danny Brown, amazing hip hop. Then there's like techno. Like all the like Detroit techno artists that that like pioneered. Although
I feel like techno and house is probably pretty big because it's like Chicago area and all that kind of mixing between the two.
Yeah, Chicago and Detroit I think always like argue over who started the electronic.
Yeah.
But then there's also like what I call shit rock, like the MC5, like just kind of like punky rocky bands. Like the White Stripes kind of like started in that vein.
Okay.
Became more pop. Yeah, and Kid Rock is his own thing. Eminem's kind of his own thing too. Like, he's pretty reclusive.
So there was never any M sightings through the scene in Detroit?
Yeah, like I said, he has a studio in Ferndale, which is where Dan lives, and but he's got like a private entrance and like a fenced in parking lot, so like I don't think people really see him. But my friends used to have to get him like when he was trying to come off of like opioids. My friends had to like get him quarts of Ben and Jerry's all the time, like he was like got really into ice cream.
I mean, I can imagine for him it'd probably be really hard to even be like living around there just because how big he became, So like I'd probably be pretty reclusive too because he's like at a whole other level that I don't think anybody can really imagine how big he was at one point,
Well, yeah, there's another artist from Detroit. I always get, I think it's Trick Daddy.
Yeah.
Or Tricky.
Trick. It's Trick.
Trick.
Yeah. Trick Daddy's from Miami.
Yeah.
The Trick. Apparently, like recently, even like showed up at like a video shoot with Eminem and Royce the 5'9" and like with like weapons and shot some shots in the sky. So like apparently like this is still a thing.
All right.
Yeah, well, the Detroit hip hop scene has always been pretty like well known for that, like aggressive kind of culture.
But then Danny Brown's not like that at all. Like,
Yeah, Dan Brown's kind of he's an outlier. He's like
I've
like
met
his
him,
own thing.
met him a bunch of times, and we even played a show with him. And then like I saw him last year at Eric Andre's birthday party, and he didn't remember. He had no idea who I was. I was like, told my girlfriend, I was like, oh no, I know this guy. We'll say hi. And he was like, I don't know who you are.
Danny Brown is like, he's a great performer, like, but he's wasted up on stage though. He be getting lit. Danny Brown parties when he performs.
Yeah, I think that was probably the case that night because he had performed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know, I mean, he also seemed to be talking to like a woman, and you know, I know how that is. I don't get into that.
For sure.
So you left the major label, and you guys went back indie, correct?
Yep. Now we have our own label, so it's it took like a year and a half to like finally figure out how to do this on our own again. Because like I think one of the blessings and the curses with a major label is like other people start to do these things for you, and you cede that responsibility, and then you like lose touch with the project in general, and also like with how to do the things that you've like let other people handle for a while.
Yeah.
So, but we feel empowered now, and it's cool. Like I think we're just gonna be releasing music really steadily.
Yeah, you guys have released music pretty frequently, I would say, over the last year, right? It's been like every couple of months, and I mean, you think that's because you left that major label situation? You felt like you wanted to creatively just kind of get back to what you guys wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, like there are some amazing people in the major label world. Some like really talented people. It's like anything though. There's like some bureaucracy, and some people are just like idiots. And so like we had a song when Spotify first started. We had a song called James Dean that we put out, and it was like it was on the global trending. It was like had 5 million streams in its first month, which was like pretty crazy back then. And so we said to Warner, like, we should make this a single, and they were like, no, streaming is not a thing.
Wait. What year was this?
This was 2015.
Streaming is not a thing in 2015. Okay.
Yeah. And then like we had a song. So after Gone, which was like the hit, we wrote Same Dark Places that premiered in 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
And so we were like, now that we've been doing like, because when you have a song on the radio, you have to go, like, radio stations can't overtly get paid to play your songs now.
Yeah.
But like instead the label will be like, well, they'll come and play your like Christmas show for free.
Yeah, a little what's it called? Quid pro quo, basically.
Yeah. So we did maybe 38 free shows that year, and so we were like, we should just at least put out another song so that they have something else they can play. And then the someone at the label said that the subject matter was too dark, so they don't want to make it a single. It's just like shit like that where it's like
pushback, label pushback. That's bullshit stuff, man. That's crazy. But it's cool now that like you're sort of liberated, but the burden on you is like to educate yourself on like all the things that you let somebody else do for you, pretty much, right? Yeah,
and then also there's so the advantage is that we can put out things whenever we want, and put out like random things like Swish, but also the disadvantage is that like in order to get radio play, you do need like the major labels do have a monopoly on that system, for the most. So like I think even Chance the Rapper was having trouble getting on the radio for a while, right? Like
Yeah, until Kanye started working with him on Coloring Book, he wasn't on the radio.
But he was like streaming better than anyone. He was like,
Yeah, he was great streams, but he didn't have that kind of, that major label backing, so they weren't like pushing for him so much on radio.
That's the weird thing. It's like, it's definitely not a meritocracy. Like, there's no radio station that's actively looking to like, I mean, that's not true. There's a few that will actively look to try and like break new artists, but for the most part, they're just, playing what their company that owns them, like Clear Channel or whatever, is telling them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the weird thing about the radio, right? Like I stopped listening to the radio a long time ago because of that, because they stopped actually looking to like introduce new artists, new music, and they were just really interested in just playing whatever was popular and whatever label is pushing it the most. And it just kind of, it all starts to sound the same. You kind of get lost into that whole top 40 playlist that everybody plays. And it's just like, man, like what those days of, radio, like breaking stuff, I think is kind of gone.
Yeah, to an extent. I think like in certain genres, like I don't know anything about country music, but I think like people still buy CDs that are country fans. So
yeah,
like,
that's very possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think the radio is probably still important for them. Who knows?
Mm.
So going to indie, you have your own label, you said?
Yeah.
Do you guys plan on like signing other artists to that label too, or just focusing on yourself right now?
Yeah, I think eventually we're going to sign other artists. For now, it's been just us, like our junior project, and then my old band's album is coming out. Dan's old band's album is coming out, so it's kind of like only things related to us so far. But like the dream is to like, that's why I got this garage space. Actually, I want to be able to have people in Los Angeles, like younger artists, like have a space. I want to be able to work with them and then hopefully assist them throughout the whole process, if they need it. That's the dream.
That's awesome.
That's dope.
And for that radio situation, you guys kind of need a Suge Knight type figure, man. Somebody who'll go in there and he'll break right through the meritocracy.
Yeah, I mean, that guy. What an amazing person to like have in your corner. What an awful person to have.
Yeah, great and awesome at the same time. Like he'll get you radio play somehow, some way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like the problem with the world, right? Like all of us think that we are living in like a merit-based system where like we're gonna like work hard and be good at something, and then like that's gonna get you ahead. And then there's like some guy that's just like, check this out, just like walks into the door and chokes someone.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're on the radio the next day.
Yeah.
So obviously the world's been a bit crazy with coronavirus and COVID and the pandemic. We kind of talked about this a little bit before, but I don't know how you're coping with everything.
It's weird. It's like one day at a time. I think certain days I wake up and I'm just like not enthusiastic about doing anything, and certain like I've been also super inspired. There's been a couple weeks where I've made like a lot of stuff, and I taught myself how to like do some other like do some video editing stuff, trying to learn, but it's hard to motivate sometimes.
Yeah.
So, and like I'm one of those people, like I learn best in classes, and like even like for like going to exercise, like I like to go to like a class,
like in person.
Yeah, and so it's been weird to like just do the Zoom workout classes and stuff.
So how's that kind of affected you guys? You and your partner Daniel collaborating on like music and stuff.
We are perhaps one of the best bands suited to this, because I've been living in Los Angeles for 5 years and he's been in Detroit the whole time, and so we do get together 5 times a year to like work on stuff, but we're always sending stuff back and forth anyways, so we were kind of used to this. So that way like our creative dynamic is totally fine, and I think that's why we're just gonna be able to keep on putting songs out, because we're kind of like set up for this.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't like love touring, so I'm like, I'm sad that we can't like see our fans and stuff, but I'm like not that bummed.
Yeah.
No,
Cool.
for sure. Setting up and packing up the van. That can be tedious night after night for sure. So
Exhausting, and it's like also super exciting the first 4 times through every city,
hmm
and then by the time you've been to a city like 10 times, it's like, all right, I get it. I get it. Austin, I get it.
So you guys just released August and Everything Prior EP. That was back in May, I believe, right?
Yep.
And there was a song I wanted to kind of ask about. It's called Cops.
Yeah. Oh,
Was
yeah.
this in response to kind of, the reckoning that's been happening, or was this already done before?
So, okay, I'm really glad you asked about this, because this is something I actually didn't. We talked about not putting it out, because to me that song is it's about white privilege, because white people's version of the cops is like, they're annoying. They're gonna like break up my house party. They're gonna
Yeah, the chorus I believe is like, "I hope the cops don't get called. I just want to dance." I think that's what it was, right?
yeah.
But then it's like that song was written. That was one of the ones that was written maybe like 4 years ago. So then we finished it, and then like I think that a lot of people are having like a perspective, like an awakening of perspective. Like where like certain times like something makes so much sense that you'll never be able to think the other way. And I think that for me, like the past few years, and Black Lives Matter and everything like has made me want to learn, and also fully aware of like the privilege that I have had as a white passing person. I say white passing because I'm Jewish, and so I have the privilege of being white until I don't,
Hmm.
But yeah, so I don't know. I guess I was like a little embarrassed when that song came out, because it just felt like such a gaping, glaring example of white privilege. But then at the same time, I thought that it was maybe worth putting out to just be able to discuss it. But no one's brought it up yet. So.
Yeah, I mean, when I went back and listened, I heard it and I saw it, and I was like, it's kind of timing was like, really in line with what was actually happening around, the world. But then at the same time, I know how music works, so I figured it might have even been something that you were thinking about, particularly when you made it, because it could have been an older song, and I really was curious about that. Is if you made it in response to it, or it was something you already kind of had that just happened to come out around the same time.
I mean, I think in general, everyone has the same feeling about police, which is like, they're annoying. I hate them. Like everyone, like but I've only been like slapped by police officers. I've never had the shit kicked out of me by police officers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like people were kind of complacent. Like we were definitely in a place of complacency with everything. And I think like with the pandemic and with all this awakening about policing and everything else, it's definitely I think snapped people out of whatever place of kind of ignorance or just lack of interest that they were. And it's hard to kind of go, like you said, it's hard to go back now that you're like people are fully aware of the true situation that's been going on. So I just thought it was a really interesting time.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking about it. I think it's really also like a lot of these things that that are part of our society are for self-protection, So it's like, if you really focused on everything wrong with the world with the same level of focus that like as a society we have on like a lot of issues right now, but like they're very prevalent and being discussed. Like, I think you'd go crazy because there's just so much wrong with everything. It's like, so I think in a lot of ways we kind of like tune stuff out over time for self-protection, just so that we don't have to like be, freaked out and sad.
Yeah, it's not easy like tearing down that veil and like seeing the world how it really is versus how you want it to be.
Well, it's also like I could think of a reason why every day I should be doing something for someone, or other people, or like it seems like it could be never ending.
Could be very never
so
ending.
much
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think it's cool, like when we have a moment as a society where we can all kind of like come together and get on the same page. Because I think part of our problem is that we're never on the same page. There's never there's even like multiple channels for news. So it's like you don't even like some people think that Bill Gates is gonna invent a vaccine for coronavirus to plant microchips in them so you can keep track of them. While they're tweeting from a phone that he built that he can definitely track them on,
we're already being tracked on. We're already being tracked. Like whenever people bring up that, like, well, what do you think they've been doing for the last 10 years? You think they haven't been tracking you? They've been tracking us with everything. Like what?
They'll tell you how long you sleep every day, like based on your phone activity.
They somehow know my heart rate, like how the fuck? But it's cool that we're all kind of like getting on the same page, and like I'm trying to learn, trying to use my privilege for the right reasons, for good things, hopefully moving forward.
Yeah, it was a great song, so I liked it. I was very, very curious about it. Yeah. And speaking of bringing together, obviously basketball is something that has always brought people together, and especially now with the pandemic and no sports for so long. I know you have a big love for basketball. Can you want to kind of talk about how that is, and like your thoughts on the NBA restarting?
Yeah, I have always loved basketball since I was like really young, and I was like I said before, I was going to be a ball boy for the Pistons in Game 6 of the NBA Finals in 1990, and then they won in Game 5.
That was against who was that against?
Portland.
Okay.
And I remember crying, even though they won, which is, But I was actually I was at the game in 2004 when Chauncey hit the half-court shot off the backboard.
Oh, yeah.
Like to extend it into overtime.
Yeah, big shot Billups.
Yep.
He really was. Like that team was cool. I
thought they would win. I really thought that team with Chauncey and them was gonna get one.
They did.
I mean, after like LeBron stopped that second one from coming back. Like I thought they would be unstoppable with like Rashid and all them. That was crazy team.
Like, Rashid was like, I had always heard from like people who knew more about basketball that like Rashid was like considered like the best all-around player for a while.
He was definitely considered one of the most underrated players that can do everything for you. He was like a shooting big man who could score inside and do it, handle all that before, now where everybody has to be able to shoot and do all this. But like he was kind of one of the first people who was really like, oh yeah, he's a knockdown shooter and he can do all this other stuff for you at 6'10",
Mm-hmm.
Plus he was funny.
Yeah. He's funny, wild guy. You guys had a wild team, like really, honestly.
And aggressive, man. He was like, he was buck up, like he was all of that. Like,
he had a 6'6" center who like rebounded and blocked everything. Like,
Big Ben.
Yeah.
That's funny. Like, Detroit's kind of a smaller town. There's like all sorts of stories about those guys.
Pistons, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are rock stars out there because they're winning championships. The only sports team out of Detroit to actually be winning championships.
Vinny Johnson probably has never paid for a drink in his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone loved like. He's like still like I mean, I think if you play for the Pistons and especially if you win a championship, like
you're a guy.
Yeah. Probably whatever you want.
I mean, I've met Rick Mayhorn a couple times. And actually had conversations with him. So, and he's like, yeah, I love Detroit. They love me. Like it was just. He talked about the period when they were, the bad boy Pistons, and he was like, it was just unreal times.
Yeah, they just tore that stadium down actually.
Yeah, I heard it was in Auburn Hills. Is that where it was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was weird. I mean, it's weird to like
kind of weird location already.
Yeah. But now I think that the Little Caesars arena where they play now, it's like I think that it was like putting basketball in was more of like an afterthought. And so like when you're not like on the court, but when you're in the front row, there's still like hockey boards.
That's
And
weird.
I feel like the arena is like built like more vertically,
Yeah,
which is like here to watch hockey, but
which
it's
is
not
for hockey. Yeah.
well, yeah. So I don't know. I guess I like the other place better.
Hey, I mean, if Detroit can get back to the glory days, maybe you guys can get a new stadium. You know, they're a little ways off right now.
I mean, it's been our drafting, you know, like Luke Kennard over Donovan Mitchell.
Well, speaking of drafting, I mean, Darko Milicic over Carmelo Anthony. Like what?
Or Wade, for that matter.
Like what? You could have. They could have. You guys could have had a legit dynasty if they would have taken either one of those players.
I wonder if Melo would have been happy in Detroit.
I think they would have made him a better player, like overall earlier on in his career, because he would have won championships.
Right, and they probably would have won a second championship because
you needed scoring, and Melo was an automatic scorer, and like that's. I think he would eventually became his team.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about that a lot.
That's kind of hurt because Melo even talked about it. I think he talked about it like a couple weeks ago. He was like, "Yeah, I think if I got drafted by Detroit, I might have had like 2-3 championships, and I might have been a different player."
Yeah, well, then plus, I mean, you know, Joe Dumars then like traded away Billups for Iverson, which was like a weird move.
Yeah, man, that's weird.
I know.
Being from Colorado, I always imagined like if Chauncey would come back to Colorado and play with Melo, and like if they could get
and it happened. And that just happened to be Melo's best years.
That was his best. Yeah, I thought that was like.
So I think Billups and him together early on would have been amazing.
And then he just left, and that was a wrap, basically.
Do you guys kind of think, aside from Giannis, do you think that Milwaukee currently is kind of more like the 04 Pistons than any other team, where like they just have a bunch of really good players, but none of them are like superstars?
Yeah, I can't say that because Rip Hamilton.
Like Toronto might be more like that.
Yeah, I think they're more like Toronto. I would say be more like Detroit, where they have like really good individual players.
But Siakam's pretty. He's pretty legit superstar.
Yeah, he's like a
Tyshawn
Tyshawn Prince to me. Like,
oh man,
and Tyshawn was my guy, you know. And then Rip Hamilton, I think. So like I'm just automatic, and then you know. Obviously, Chauncey. Like,
if you were playing now, I think if Rip were playing now, he probably would have shot the three better.
Yeah, he didn't. You didn't need to shoot a three back.
Nobody cared about the three. They were caring about handles and getting a pull up. You know,
he was all short corner, mid range, automatic. Like shot like 85% from there. Like it's ridiculous.
He seemed like one of those guys that like would have been so annoying to have to try and cover, just because he's like
running all game.
Oh my god, it would be so annoying.
Bro.
So obviously Detroit is your favorite team. Who's your favorite player growing up?
I don't know. I mean, I loved Michael Jordan, but I hated him too because he ended the Bad Boys dynasty.
Yeah.
I loved Isaiah Thomas, and then when he went to New York and was like such a disaster there,
He's getting a lot of hate lately. His image is kind of getting torn down a bit.
Well, I mean, he was a great player though.
Amazing player.
But I loved Grant Hill. Like when Grant Hill and Jerry Stackhouse were on the Pistons, that was when we had teal jerseys. That was like such a fun team.
Mm-hmm.
Injuries.
Yeah, seriously, I think Grant Hill would have been one of the better players ever.
Sure. All around player, did everything.
And he was even
Hardaway. Like those were like the two guys that I thought would be like Jordan, but you know.
Yeah. And Derrick Rose too. Derrick Rose is like, although Derrick Rose had a pretty good year this year for us.
Yeah, he's had a good last 2 years. Like he's never going to be obviously MVP levels, but he's still a legitimate starter. I think
he's like really quick again. You know,
like getting that explosiveness back for sure.
Yeah,
I think he's feeling more confident. Like after basically being hurt for 3 straight years, you'd feel a little like less than confident being aggressive on your moves and stuff like that. So like I think he's finally kind of feeling like normally confident again. So
I get it. I broke my foot freshman year of college and playing a soccer game, and I had to get a surgery. And then, yeah, I was kind of never as quick, never as like, and it was mostly just like it's in your head. It's like,
yeah,
just favor the other leg more.
yeah.
But I mean, they have such great sports science now. Like that's one of the things about like LeBron James is his commitment and his work ethic and his talent, like incredible. But he also has access to like sports science that I think other people didn't have.
For sure.
For sure. 1,000%.
I mean, they were playing Chucks back in the day. Like what?
Yeah, that's
they got better technology for their feet.
Like, how do you play in those?
I don't know. How did everyone like? They must have all had to tape their ankles. Like,
no, for sure. But also, like, just the landing on those, like constantly, like man. No.
Yeah, imagine somebody else landing on your feet in those, like in basketball game. Like
can't even walk in Chucks for too long if you start hurting. So yeah, I don't have no idea how they play.
My foot hurt for like 6 months because I walked around Manhattan one day in Chucks for like.
Oh my god! Nah, see, yeah.
I can't even imagine that.
You can't wear shoes that look cool but aren't comfy out here.
No, I know. I'm all about comfort.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the NBA restart?
I'm so happy that they're doing it. I mean, first of all, baseball was really set up to have a bubble, right? Because they like already have spring training in Arizona and in Florida. Like they could have just kind of done that.
They talked about it out here in Arizona, but then players union and then Arizona started going crazy with the numbers again, and then it kind of fell through.
Yeah.
But now it's like, so how do you even have a baseball season when like certain teams can't play because they got too many players that are sick? Arizona won't let U.S. teams into their country. Also, why are they even traveling to stadiums when there's no fans? Like what? That whole thing is really stupid.
It's a mess, for sure.
So basketball is like, first of all, like if it wasn't for Gobert being an idiot, America wouldn't have taken COVID seriously for a while.
NBA was like the moment, like when they were like, all right, we're suspending all NBA the rest of the season, and people were like, what? Like, oh, it's serious.
Not a little hasty, and then like next day, boom, 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 boom. Like, yeah.
No, that was like the first thing, and I think that like for them to have even the like Zoom fans, it's like cool, like it looks awesome,
Yeah.
Like, I love that like, like the NFL became a symbol of like politics because like president tries to talk shit about the league and like and I love how the NBA is just like so all on the same page and like they weren't about to let it get politicized. They were just like, this is what is right and we do it. I thought that was like the coolest thing.
Don't back down. It's hard. I mean, yeah, like they know where their fans are. They know where, they're more in touch with the actual communities that watch their sport than I think any other sport right now in the world.
But I think as any kind of entertainer, whether you're like a musician or an actor or comedian or athlete, like it is frightening to think that you could lose like part of the audience. But at the same time, like I think that it's increasingly important for everyone to like actually stand behind justice and just what's right, because that is how society can, like, I know you're never going to like eradicate injustice and racism, but like I had a friend who put it really brilliantly where he said that like Trump has given like all those cockroaches permission to like not scatter when the light turns on, and I think if we like, I think we have to like make them go back into their dark corners,
Yeah, like I said, like they're all on one page, and they have it right there on the court. They have it in their interviews. They speak like from top on down, and it's like, maybe some fans will be like, oh, I'm not watching it. But at the same time, like, how big of a fan were you to begin with? And then also, like, they'll get over it because it's still basketball, and then they're gonna come right back because it's like once you have LeBron going for 60 in a game in the finals or something like that, like it's hard to like stay away.
I don't understand how you could be racist and watch any sport in general.
It's something that's been mind-boggling for years, you know. Like,
yeah, like
I'm a diehard, you know, NFL fan, but okay, well, it's like 80%, you know, minority. Like, so what's going on? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
Like, it's also like if you're like a white supremacist, like, you know, how
gotta be hard watching sports for white supremacists.
Yeah,
I'd imagine.
For real.
Like,
Gotta be a tough time. Like, how do you you know, equate those two sides?
Even like, I don't know. I think most forms of entertainment, like, like, I don't know, it's crazy.
I mean, like, there's a lot of white suburbs out there that listen to hip hop too. Like, don't get it, you know. So it's like, how do you even like put those two together? Like, it's weird. People just are just all screwed up in the head. I think once you get to that kind of point, anyways, it's unnatural.
Yeah, I wish that there was one definition of like reality. I don't know how to achieve it. You know what I mean? But like, if everyone could just like agree on the same sets of like fact, like, all right, this is what's actually this is what happens.
With the Twitter and the internet, that'll never happen now. Like, anybody can start a blog or a website or any voice, any opinion, and they'll have somebody who will agree with them. So it's like, nope, those days are gone.
There's all this like anti-Semitism on the internet now too, which is crazy because, like, you know, growing up Jewish, like I definitely when I lived in North Carolina, I felt anti-Semitism, but in Detroit, like, I really didn't feel it, and I don't know how to even have the conversation because it's such an old historical problem.
Yeah.
That, like, it's hard to even give anyone, like, it's hard for anyone to have that context, you know? Like,
yeah.
Like if you're talking about like Israel and why it exists, like, it exists because like there's never been a country that stood by its Jewish population when they were getting persecuted. Like, they all, like, Jews had to leave everywhere, you know? So then it was like, it started so that people could have a place to go. But now, you know, 70 years removed from that, it's like a whole different problem.
Yeah.
And people don't, you know, it's I think maybe we all just don't have as much of a historical perspective. Like, I didn't realize that the Tulsa riots were a thing until I watched The Watchmen. I had never been taught about that in school.
Oh yeah.
And
right.
It scared me, you know, because I was like, holy shit, this happened in my, like, I didn't even know about this.
Yeah.
It's really scary.
Yeah. History is definitely very important, especially like the true history of stuff. Like, otherwise, like you said, if you don't know your history, you can keep repeating it, which is obviously the cliche saying, but it's very true because these issues keep popping up over and over again, but also because people are so ill-informed about the actual history of things, you know?
Yeah.
For sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make I'm making this.
No, man, I like it. It's a good talk.
Well, you want to switch it back over? Well, talk about Swish. I mean,
no. First, I read an article. You said you predicted Milwaukee as NBA champions.
I did.
Oh yeah, let's get into that. Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's a lot to be said for like a team having the ability to play together for longer. I think Milwaukee, you know, it's like the cohesion that comes with being on a team with the same people for
multiple years.
Like,
yeah,
new faces, but like, and I just think that they're built to kind of match up really well against anyone. Whereas, like, I mean, I think maybe the Celtics are too, and the Clippers. You know, like I do think the Lakers could NBA jam it. Like, you know, just
it's hard to rule LeBron out sometimes. You know, like,
honestly, I feel like you guys are subtly saying that the Lakers are gonna win. You just didn't know it. With J.R. Smith, you know, they call him Young Swish. You know, he just got picked up by the Lakers. So, you know.
we actually, yeah, we did think about that.
Oh, see, you guys are clutch, man. I love it. The whole Swish rollout is amazing. I really hope you guys get a sync for those songs because they're like perfect. Like,
what's funny is when you actually Google Junior Swish, You get a lot of J.R. Smith images and,
Yeah.
and articles popping up.
Yeah, Junior's definitely not very SEO friendly, but yeah, I mean, first of all, LeBron, I can't believe that he welcomed him back. Like the last Cleveland season was like, that was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that was honestly wow. But at the same time, the coach should have called timeout.
You need an elite shooter.
That's Eric Spoelstra's fault. That's not JR's fault. The coach should have called timeout. They had a timeout. So I'm not going to put it all on JR.
You're wrong because Eric Spoelstra is in Miami. But
I said Eric. Oh, I made Eric Spoelstra. What's his face? What was his name?
Ty Lue.
It was T. Lue. T. Lue. Well, he acts like Eric Spoelstra in the background. They don't really say much. They're not the coaches that walk out and like are actually telling their players to do something. They like just be quiet.
No, they're players, coaches. That's why. Like, you can't coach LeBron. Let's be real. Like, what are you gonna tell him to do? Like in any situation at that point, you just got to make sure everybody's on the same page and all playing together and like keep things cohesive and like keep.
I should have known he had a timeout and said timeout. That's what he should have done.
I mean, like that. Watching The Last Dance with like Phil Jackson, how he deals with Rodman, like, holy crap! I can't imagine
somebody like that.
Yeah, yeah. That guy, just nuts.
Like Phil's not the greatest X and O coach, but he is amazing when it comes to personnel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you have a talent like that, like a Jordan or a Kobe or a Shaq or a Bron, you don't really need to do that much. You really just need to make sure the team doesn't explode from egos. Like,
right.
I think Steve Kerr seems like he'd be like a fun coach to play for.
Yeah, they love him.
He seems like just,
I think he's a bit overrated as a coach. Like he won Coach of the Year after, basically everything was all set up for him. And, in 1 year he missed like 60-something games and they still lost like 3 games the entire time he was gone. So it's like, how important were you really,
And it definitely wasn't Luke Walton.
No.
You can prove that now.
The worst NBA coach of all time.
Unbelievable.
He's horrible.
I don't know. Yeah, nah.
Like Sacramento has so much talent. They have so much talent. I can't believe they can't put it together.
Yeah.
Just one of those places too. Sacramento's a tough place. Kind of like Detroit.
Yeah.
It's tough, like if you don't like you can get certain good players, but it's tough like that culture to build that back up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like that also like because like I feel like Pop had that culture going in San Antonio, but now it like doesn't work or something. Like.
Well, he's missing, the big three. Like that was like, yeah, he had the culture, but then you also had Tim Duncan, arguably the greatest power forward of all time. Tony Parker, who was easily a top, like you could say a top 20 point guard. Then you have Manu, who changed the game. Like so, it's like, yeah, you had culture, but you still had like these amazing players that bought into the culture,
Right.
And Sacramento doesn't have a culture right now, and they don't have amazing players that like transcendent players that buy into it. You need that guy to like fully buy into it. Like Kobe fully bought into it.
Seems like he's gonna be really good. Like I think he's. I don't
know. Who's that?
Fox.
Yeah, he has definitely potential.
He seems like I don't know. He seems like he's improving.
And that's like you need to put something around him. You need somebody needs to create some type of culture down there where people fully buy in. Like Milwaukee, that's why they're so good because they have that culture that people bought into. Like it's not a destination, but people are like, hey, we're fully bought into what we need to do to win.
I mean, the Clippers are awesome. I think that I don't necessarily know that anyone on the Clippers could stop Giannis, and I think Giannis.
Nobody can.
And I think Giannis could stop Paul George. I think he could.
My thing with Giannis though is playoff shooting matters a lot, and as you can see, his previous playoffs, that's kind of been a struggle because the paint and those fouls aren't going to be the same as they are, in the playoffs as they are in the regular season. So that's my only hesitation on him.
I just think Giannis is going to fold, man. I don't think he can handle the finals. I just don't think he can handle it. He's got to put it all on his shoulders. If they double team him every time and his boys aren't knocking down,
what they started to do.
Started, but that's the warm ups right now. You
I
know?
mean, I'm talking about the playoffs last year and the year before.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah,
Took it out of
Brogdon.
his
I
hand.
think they should not have let go of Brogdon. Like they shouldn't have let him leave because I don't know. I think he would actually fit what they need really well right now. And he was like on the swing too. It's like weird to.
It's gonna be a weird year. It can be
Yeah.
exciting though, because he like with the quarantine and pandemic and all that, like you don't really know what's gonna happen. It's like because it changed everything basically from the season. Whatever happened before doesn't matter anymore. It's like
Yeah.
here it
All
is.
that momentum's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that like Durant didn't try and come back.
I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he
No,
didn't.
I'm not, because he wanted to play with Kyrie if they weren't both going to get it done.
And he knew they don't have a chance like without either one of them. And I don't risk the injury again. Get fully healthy, come back. You know.
Because that's what happened to him last time. That's how he got he was coming back
He
earlier
wasn't
than
fully
he
healthy. He came back too early.
to try to put the team on his back, and then
He's been my favorite player, I think, since Grant Hill. Like I love Durant's game. He's so good.
Amazing game, very smooth. Like
I don't understand how anyone could ever guard him.
can't. That's what nobody's been able to. Literally nobody.
Like,
nobody can stop him. He does what he wants. The only thing you can do, if you get in his head, though, you can get in his head and he might get a little frustrated. That's the only thing.
That's fair.
Really. But if you
I
piss him off, then it's all right.
I went to Michigan State like around the same time as Draymond, I guess, and for like a semester. And I've always loved Draymond, but I didn't appreciate how he treated Kevin Durant. I thought that was kind of shitty.
I don't think Kevin Durant appreciated how he treated Kevin Durant. You know, that's why he's no longer with the Golden State Warriors. So.
Like he's Draymond's just too cocky. Like I feel like if you're gonna be like the Swiss Army knife, you got to stay humble. Like that's like your role is to like pick up, like fill in where whatever role needs filling in whatever.
I mean, I get why he's so cocky though, is because people basically told me he wasn't gonna do anything in the league, and then he ends up doing so much in the league. That's why he's
Michigan
so
State
cocky. Yeah.
Every Michigan State player has that. Like, Shannon Brown was like way better than people thought he was going to be. Gary Harris, he's like, I feel like he's better than people thought he was going to be.
Well, Michigan State's kind of they have like a system kind of too there where they make players look even better than they end up being pros a lot of times.
I thought Miles Bridges was going to be a better pro than he is, but I mean he's still young. But
he's young. He's one of the most athletic people I've ever seen. Though it's insane.
Yeah, and at Michigan State he got to the point where he was like shooting the three pretty well too.
It's just work. It's different, The NBA is just it's a whole different ball game than anywhere else these kids have been. So it's like a big adjustment.
Yeah,
you're no longer just the best player on the court, hands down. Like it's just that's not the situation anymore.
Yeah. Now, if that happens at every level. I mean, I remember coming from being the best. Everyone that plays a college sport was the best player on their high school team, and then you're not the best player on your college team.
Yeah, and then throwing some behind the scenes politics, dealing with money and stuff, and it can ruin. Like it can, if you're not ready for that, it's tough to adjust to for sure.
Who are you guys picking to win?
I've said LeBron since the beginning, so I'm gonna stick with them since the beginning of the season. So I'm gonna stick with my initial predictions, just because if anybody can go crazy in the playoffs, it's him, and he's the one kind of X factor on it. Every team they have this and this and this, okay, but then LeBron just can manage a game on a whole nother level compared to other people, and if Anthony Davis plays at a super high level, it's going to be very hard to beat them, I think.
Yeah.
I just don't like how much they have to rely on KCP because we had him on the Pistons for a while. I can tell you that when you pin your hopes to him, he will let you.
Yeah. I mean, he's been playing okay. Okay.
Like opposite of clutch. Like when you need a three, you'll miss it.
But now you have J.R. Smith, and for everything he did wrong, he is that guy. You need a three.
Yeah,
he'll come in out of nowhere and knock down 4 or 5 threes for you. Like,
yeah, I'm with Dario in terms of who I think is gonna win. I've been a diehard LeBron fan, and I already knew as soon as AD came, as long as they were playing, it's pretty much a wrap. Like in my mind, I just don't see like.
My thing with the Clippers is I just think they're just too inconsistent. Like they don't play together all the time. 3 guys aren't playing now. Like I don't even know if they're all going to be playing by the end of this. Like,
Yeah, they seem like the idealistic ball club to me. Like they're playing everything really safe. Like they don't seem like a fun ball club. They just seem like a like trying to execute the championship with like as little actual basketball playing like as possible. Like it's kind of weird to
But
me.
isn't Kawhi like the best at defending LeBron in the league?
I'll say one of them for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely one.
I mean, they can't match up with Davis, but
Can't at all.
Yeah, like who's gonna guard Anthony Davis?
who on the Lakers then is going to guard Paul George?
You know, who knows? But
And like if Lou comes back, you know, he's pretty tough.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true.
No, it's a very tough matchup for sure. But it's just like Paul George has been very iffy in playoffs.
That's true.
Yeah, honestly
So
though,
you're not
and
guaranteed
you
to
gotta
get
think
like
about.
which Paul George you getting, you know, and then also Kawhi, yeah, you can defend him.
Kawhi are we getting? What if Kawhi? Okay, so like they're just too inconsistent for me. Is my only problem. Like I would pick them if they had shown at any point that they could like play a 7-game series without injury. That's like balls to the wall. You know, like I don't see like to me Kawhi's last championship was like luck, pure luck. Like to me, like too many cards fell into place for him that made it easy to win, in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, he still played pretty clutch though.
Yeah, he played really clutch, but like when you take out certain cards, it's almost like would he even got the opportunity to be clutch, or would it have just been blown out? Like would he? Like that was how I felt, and like you see how where Toronto's at now, it's almost like they're in the same position they were before, during, and after him.
That's true.
So it's like I haven't necessarily seen Kawhi prove to me that he's like the number one. He's definitely top 3, but I still put Durant above him in terms of like skill.
And speaking of the East, I'm not fully sold that Giannis can even get past Toronto because I think Toronto matches up extremely well with him.
Yeah, I guess. I think honestly, like Gasol could be an X factor because he like seems to
Well,
be.
Gasol and Siakam can guard him pretty well. Like they can really. Then they have Ibaka inside, so they can really put length on him that's gonna really make him struggle. I think.
I think Ibaka will give him a hard time.
But they do have like a lot of length also. Like they've got the Lopez. Like Lopez brothers can shoot threes now. Like that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Right.
It's gonna be interesting. Like I'm very excited to see kind of what happens. 6 more games now, then we get playoffs. So
I'm surprised Boston's not better. Like on paper, they should. Like all their players are super long, athletic, skilled. Like
I just don't think Tatum is fully at that level yet, where he's gonna carry you every single night. Like he'll do it. He'll do it for sure, but not like I don't think every single game you're gonna get the best.
But couldn't Kemba do that?
Not in the playoffs. I think he's just too little in the playoffs. Like it's gonna be hard. Like it's 7 games it's a long time for people to adjust to you, and it's like scoring is just gonna get harder and harder, and size does affect, you know, unfortunately, like scoring ability and like outside of AI, I can't think of anybody that small even that can carry a team like that. So
yeah, that's true.
And he was a different, like he's considered one of the greatest scorers of all time. So it's like he's great. I just don't think playoffs you're gonna need Tatum. You need that wing who can like carry you night in and night out, and I'm not sure he's fully there yet.
Philadelphia is really weird too because like I don't know. I just feel like they had the process was really working, and then I think they messed it up. You know,
They had like a better road. Was it? I think they lost like 2 games at home. Then they like were like under 500 on the road or something like that. Like it's something crazy. Like
I don't understand like trading Fultz after you draft him first. Like like trading him for nothing. It's like a weird.
I don't understand signing another big. Like
Right. Horford. Yeah. Look, what the hell are they doing? Also, like Embiid and Simmons aren't even really the best fit.
No.
Two players who can't shoot that are tall
And B
and
can
want the
shoot, just
ball
not
to create their own
obviously
shot.
like a knockdown, but
not the greatest.
The Pelicans are.
Ben is the problem. He
I
can't
think.
shoot.
Oh yeah, I think. I was watching the Pelicans the other day, and I think Zion reminds me of like Larry Johnson mixed with young Shaq,
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
where he's just like so like if he gets the ball within like 8 feet,
Anywhere around the circle, it's
Oh yeah.
powering through you and scoring.
crazy. It's awesome. Fun to watch him.
He's also too big.
Sounds like Sean Kemp. Like he puts like Sean Kemp style like oomph on it, you know? Like that's why his dunks are exciting. Like even if they're light, it just seems like it's so like crazy.
He's also too big though, so like he needs to lose a lot of weight.
I think he put on like 10 pounds.
He's got to be 300 pounds right now.
Like he doesn't look skinnier, he looks bigger. So I don't know.
That's always weird to me too. Like in the NBA, like Oliver Miller was on the Pistons for a while. It's like if you're playing basketball every day, how do you ever get that fat? It doesn't even make any sense.
Lazy.
After you burn all those calories, you just eat junk food and sit down on the couch and watch ESPN and play video games.
I can't even imagine how much junk food you would have to eat.
Just you order a large pizza, Chipotle, you know, all of that stuff. But that's just one night. That's like Chipotle was the snack before you get the pizza. Bottomless pit, right? You know?
Yeah.
Athletes eat a lot, you know.
So let's play a little game, a little quick game since you're a Pistons fan. Do a little Pistons trivia with you and see how far your knowledge goes. Since you were going to be in the 1990 Game 6 finals, so you should know a little bit here.
Oh boy, we'll see.
All right, I'm getting these straight off the internet here. So, in the midst of Ben Wallace leaving to play in Chicago, Detroit was looking to make a splash in the free agent market to replace him. Which center did the Pistons sign to a 5-year contract before the season began?
Josh Smith.
No, Nazir Muhammad.
Oh, Nazir Muhammad. That's right. Wow.
Josh Smith came after.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's like we're still paying his salary.
Funny story about Josh Smith, right? Okay. So I'm good friends with Peyton Siva, who you guys end up drafting.
Yeah, dude, I love him.
And basically, like a big part of the reason he's out of the league is because of Josh Smith, because Josh Smith was shooting like 22% from the field for that entire year. So he made everybody look horrible.
Oh yeah, I thought Siva was good, man. He had game. He was really explosive.
Yeah,
I thought he was gonna stick.
Dang Josh Smith, man.
Josh Smith.
All right. That's a tough one. All right. What 3 Pistons were in the 1990 NBA All-Star Game?
90. Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman.
Correct.
Nice.
All 3 right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have got Rodman on that one.
Yeah, that was like his last year. He was with us. That was like right before he became, wild. But he was awesome on the Pistons, diving around these balls and stuff.
Here's an obscure one. I'll be surprised if you. Who in 2002, 2003? Who wore number 34?
Bryson Daly?
Corliss Williamson.
Corliss Williamson. Shit, yeah.
Corliss Big Nasty Williamson. That.
He was sweet.
I remember
All right. Which player played for the Pistons on 3 separate occasions? I'll give you out of 4 possibilities: Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Ronald Dupree, and Lindsey Hunter.
Lindsey Hunter.
Yep.
Lindsey Hunter was was a coach for them too.
Yeah, you just can't stay away.
that.
Just can't stay away.
Joe Dumars' favorite draft pick that he ever made.
Come back. Just come back, man.
He loved him.
Revolving door.
Yeah, then he traded away Middleton.
Right.
I remember watching Middleton as a rookie, and he was a second round pick, but you could tell he was just good. Like he looked like you can tell when people like look smooth with
Yeah, it took him a little while to adjust to the game, but I think he's definitely, you can see it now. He's the speed and everything. It's like he's also in the perfect situation.
Yeah, he is.
They need him. Okay, who set a Piston record for most points in one game?
That would be Chauncey?
Jerry Stackhouse.
Oh, Stackhouse, right. Yeah.
That goes.
Yeah, 57 against Chicago and April 3rd, 2001.
Gotcha. Yeah. Wow. That was the era, the teal era.
Yep.
Here, I'll give you a freebie. Which Piston player had the most technical fouls against him in a year?
Oh, Sheed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was nuts.
I think he's got the record in the league for most technicals in a year.
Really? Didn't Draymond come close?
Draymond was definitely close, but I think Rasheed still got it.
Yeah.
Which is amazing how much money he's lost to the NBA in fines.
For real.
Give you like three more. All right, here's another freebie. Who was the first round draft pick in 03-04?
Oh, Darko.
Yep. The pick that continues the hunt, the franchise.
What an asshole. He's like an MMA fighter now.
Yeah, or he tried to be and then got knocked out.
Of course, he's not even good at that. That's awesome.
That's crazy.
All right, which Piston set the record for most games played?
As a Piston?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, as a Piston.
Bob Lanier?
Who's that?
Was it Bob Lanier?
No, it was Joe Dumars.
Dumar, yeah, of course.
He played in 1,018 career games with Detroit. Isaiah played in 979 and Lambeer in 937.
Yeah. The Michael Jordan stopper.
Hey, I've actually met and had conversations with Lambeer, and he's a funny guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So after the Pistons noticed that the Nazir Muhammad experiment wasn't working, they decided to look for someone new. Which power forward / center did they sign in 2007?
That would be Josh Smith, right?
Chris Webber.
Wait, Webber played for the Pistons?
Yes.
I don't remember that. I remember, I saw when I was a kid, Webber went to Detroit Country Day, which is where Shane Battier also went. But like I remember being like 8 or 9 and like going to see Chris Webber play in high school because he was like one of those players in high school where everyone was just like,
He's the homegrown guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he was so good.
Yeah, he wore number 84 with Detroit.
Yeah,
because he couldn't wear 4.
Right, because Dumars.
All right, and the last one. How many rebounds did Ben Wallace have in Game 5 of the 2004 NBA Finals?
Wow, that's a tough one. I'm just going to guess here, but 16.
22.
22. Yeah, man.
22 rebounds, 18 points.
That's like the guy you want on your team, you know, like you know he's gonna do all the like shit. He's just gonna like get it done.
He's gonna clean up after you if you fuck up. Like that's the guy you want next to a shooter. Like somebody who's just gonna jack him up. Like Russell Westbrook needs that guy.
They found their Rodman again, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, hey, you did pretty well.
Thanks.
Did pretty well.
Yeah, you're a true fan.
I definitely am. I like it. It's cool, but I feel like basketball, sports in general, like in a lot of ways is like a cool way to relax your brain after you if you're like writing all day or something. It's just cool to like watch other people who are incredible at what they do. Like just go do it. It's fun.
All right, so obviously love for basketball. We talked about basketball for a while. And the main reason we're here today is because you are preparing to release over a period of different dates your Swish EP.
Yeah.
What brought this on? And, obviously why basketball specifically, even though I think I kind of know the answer.
Actually, we've been talking about doing this for a while. We just kind of never had it done in time for a season to start. And so I think the lockout or like the coronavirus break, we were like, wait a minute, we can finish this and like actually have it ready for by the time it comes back. So,
yeah.
It was just kind of like a good motivation to finish it. But yeah, it was just like a love letter to the game, just like a cover of the Curtis Blow song Basketball, a cover of the John Tesh NBA on NBC theme, and then an original called Vertical.
I love that song Vertical
Yeah.
too, by the way.
I do too. I'm excited about that one coming out because I think it's a really good one.
Yeah, we've had the pleasure of listening to it, and I liked everything I heard, and I thought it was a very cool concept, especially with the NBA kind of coming back with everything going on. I think the timing is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Curtis Blow fit for some.
Why those specific covers?
Well, I mean, John Tesh is just like, it's like funny, it's like funny. Like also, he wrote that song by like calling his home phone and singing it into his answering machine. Like when people had answering machines, that's how he like wrote it. I think it's just funny. So I don't know. We always wanted to cover that. Plus it's just like, it's a ridiculous song.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. And Curtis Blow Basketball is just, it's always been like an awesome song. Just like kind of fun to listen to.
The nostalgia from the Round Ball Rock definitely hit strong when I heard it. I was like, man, I haven't heard this in forever. Like,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, why no Space Jam covers in there?
Well, can't cover them all.
Maybe in the future, maybe down the line.
Well, I mean, we figured we'll save it. Maybe we'll get asked to do some stuff for the new Space Jam.
That would be awesome. That would be very awesome.
That'd be the best.
And release schedule wise, what's your guys' plan to drop everything?
We are going to put out the next song, the Curtis Blow song, when the playoffs start, and then when the finals start, Vertical will come out.
Cool. And you guys are also doing a vinyl package.
Yeah. Right? So the whole thing was like we actually wanted to make the record look like a basketball, like real texture-wise and stuff, but I guess it's just impossible. So we we talked to a bunch of different vinyl manufacturers and found one that could make the vinyl look like a legit basketball.
It's like a photo vinyl, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like a basketball. Like it looks really cool. Like when I saw it, I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. And we got we did a junior champion run of like champion merch. I think it's gonna be cool. So you can get like the basketball vinyl with like basketball shorts and a hoodie.
Sweet. I might have to grab one. You guys can go pre-order it now, right?
Yeah. If you just go to juniorjunior.com.
Okay. Awesome.
Juniormusic.com, actually, I think it is.
Sweet. And I guess I just wanted to play one of the songs for everybody. I guess you just released Round Ball Rock.
Oh, yeah.
So let me just get that. All right, here we go.
so prog rock. It's so funny.
It's awesome. The nostalgia hits very strong in that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it's crazy what you did with that because the nostalgia's there, but then like the breakdowns and how you mix in a little bit of new instrumentation makes it like really cool. So
Oh, I'm gonna be honest. That was mostly Daniel that did all like because he is way better at like I have ADD, so like just to like learn that song is so hard. So,
yeah,
I definitely like got to give props to him because he's the one that like really took the time and like had the patience to figure that out.
You just don't hear those type of like synth sounds anymore. Like it's just like, oh man, it just hits.
Yeah, I know, man. It's I've been listening to put on this Phil Collins record, No Jacket Required, the other day, and like it sounds like the '80s. Like it just every sound sounds like the '80s, but
Yeah,
for whatever reason, it sounds like in the '80s. It was probably cool, and then it was cheesy, and now I feel like it's maybe cool again.
kind of coming back a little bit, kind of getting that retro, kind of refurbished, you know.
Yeah.
But definitely hearing that kind of had me picturing like one of those like old school like late '80s movies where they have the short shorts and like playing basketball with these group of kids playing basketball that clearly have no idea how to play basketball, and it's like all intense and like those cutscenes like it definitely feels like from that era. Like I love that.
I was
Love
watching this movie, John Tucker Must Die, a couple years ago. It's like a really stupid teen movie, and like the guy is like he's like a really popular like cool white guy, and he's on the basketball team. And in a game, he does a full front flip dunk. Like, what the fuck were you even thinking with this?
I think I might have seen that too. That sounds familiar. I also think of like Teen Wolf when he was playing. I think he was playing basketball, right? Like the whole basketball scene. Like it's like, what's going on here? Like,
you guys see that movie Luck of the Irish? It was a
no.
Disney movie. Oh man, there was a scene like that too, where this kid like it was basically like luck, and he could do anything on the court. So he was like doing crazy dunks and like hook shots, full court and shit. Like
It definitely feels like like one of those old Disney movies. Like what was it now? Like the ones how like the roller skating ones they did when like skating was really big and whatever. Like maybe Brink, that's what it's called. Feels like one of those type of movies where it gets all intense, like at the end of the movie where he's finally about to win the game, stuff like that. Yeah, like definitely that feel. Cool. So that is Round Ball Rock.
Yeah, that song was dope. Round Ball Rock was sick. I love you guys doing that. But yeah, I got a weird question since we were talking about film and stuff. I was wondering, what's your favorite like basketball movie?
Oh, that's
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess I always like Blue Chips.
Great one.
Blue Chips is so sick. Okay, see, Blue Chips was the one before what? It's basically like Space Jam, kind of like. Blue Chips came out right before. That was like kind of like a dream team setup, like all the players in there. Who was Grant Hill?
No, so Blue Chips was Shaq, Penny.
Shaq and Penny, yeah, Shaq and Penny.
And then someone else, and yeah, they had been like recruited by Nick Nolte to play like in a.
Yeah, it was all about recruiting the college, like recruiting and all that stuff. Like it's a classic.
I like Hoop Dreams too, but it's just so sad.
Yes, there's some like weirdly like dark basketball movies, like from that period.
I mean, yeah, he got games a little sad too.
It's a great one.
They can't jump a basketball movie. I guess it is.
Yeah,
that's
a great one.
Wesley Snipes actually looks like he can play basketball, which is cool.
Yeah, even Woody looked like he played there. Like he looked like they looked like they actually played a little bit,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Above the Rim.
Right.
Yeah.
It's also kind of a dark one,
Jesus Shuttlesworth.
That's he got game.
Yeah. Above the Rim was actually, Above the Rim.
Above the Rim. That's the Pac movie, right?
Pac movie, man.
That soundtrack was crazy awesome.
Yeah,
I remember like I had that CD.
I think for me, Probably still Space Jam. It's hard to top that. What it did for the time, you know.
Oh yeah.
Bill Murray's in it. I mean, you can't beat that, right?
Bill Murray gonna be in Space Jam 2? Do we know who's
There's so many basketball movies. I wonder.
I never saw Hoosier, to be honest. I never saw that.
You never saw it?
Huh.
It's definitely for the older generation, I think, in terms of like that's their you know, one on the pedestal. But for the younger generation, like it's not not for me.
You guys see Pistons about Pete Maravich?
I've seen his documentary. I haven't seen. I actually used to have like his little instructional videos he would do
Yeah.
about how to play basketball and stuff like that. Like, it was awesome.
Good skill. But I feel like Steph Curry probably is like, you know, I always see like the advertisements for him doing like the master class thing. I bet he's probably a better teacher.
Huh, I haven't seen those. I know he had a master class. It's interesting. Cool. Before we go, I just want to like maybe play one more song. Since you guys did release, I think one recently, like a month ago, called "The Gambler."
Oh yeah.
To give people kind of a feel of, you know, your music outside of basketball themed, you know, theme sounds.
This one was crazy. My girlfriend is a comedian. She was doing a festival in Vegas, and I went with her, and they put us up in this hotel that was like just sad. It was like dark, you know. And
do you know the name of it?
I shouldn't say.
Or you can tell me later. Yeah,
restaurant in the lobby, and there were like people doing like IV hangover cures, you know, like.
Oh yeah. I see those.
Bars, and like it was just sad and
kind of just out in the open. Like,
kind of had a panic.
So weird.
So I stayed in the room and I was just thinking about this song
called "The Gambler," and I mean, yeah. I'll just play it, let people kind of hear it for themselves. But like, I definitely get those Vegas vibes when I first heard it. I was like, oh yeah, it definitely feels like the seedier parts of Vegas, if you know those areas for sure.
Yeah, it's sleazy and I hate it. Vegas, not the song.
All right, so let's give this one a go.
Back.
It's a little psychedelic there.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. I like the kind of trippy psychedelic tones you had in there, especially toward the end. Like I really like that.
Thanks. I'm actually today learning how to grow my own mushrooms.
Oh, there you go.
Pretty flat.
So maybe we'll get some more songs like that.
Definitely those peaks and valleys, you know.
Awesome. Man, we covered a lot today. Really, really hate everything. So people can listen to Round Ball Rock. It's out right now. Also, The Gambler released a month ago, and also August and Everything Prior EP just released a few months ago. So you have a lot of music out there for people to check out, and you know, I'm a big fan now. Like everything I've heard, I really like it. I've had a great time talking with you. You're a cool dude. Really, really like you guys' insight into everything.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I this is really cool. I haven't been on a podcast ever.
Oh, well.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
you're natural, man. You're a good speaker.
Yeah.
You know,
I tend to talk too much. So
Perfect amount. The perfect amount. Everybody, the worst is when you have a guest who doesn't talk, like who are like you have to like force things out of. You're like perfect.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate you sharing all your stories and everything, and you were really generous with your time, and you know, unfortunately Daniel couldn't be here, but I definitely feel you guys' close-knit collaborative, you know, process going. Your music is seamless, you know, it doesn't seem like you're mailing in anything. You're definitely both dedicated to making this thing the biggest it can be. So I'm a fan, like Dario said, and I'm gonna be showing people your work, you know, and all of that.
oh, thank you. I'm
I'm gonna have to get one of those basketball vinyls. Get to my collection.
Oh, we'll send you guys some.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years, and I feel like it's, you know, it's like a marriage. It's like it's hard work. Like you gotta like really work on your relationship, because everyone's life changes. You know, that's really the thing. It's not your relationship that changes. It's like life around everything.
Yeah. So different things have to move around. Like same way. Me and Doris have been at this for about the same amount of time. So like we definitely understand.
Cool, you guys.
Process. I guess what's next other than, you know, the release of this? You have any guys things bigger planned? Hopefully when all this calms down, you get back.
We were trying to put on like a 2-man, 1-man show. So it's basically like us talking about stuff and playing music. The concept is kind of interesting, but we never got to do it because, you know, we had to cancel all the shows. But I really hope to do that someday. Hope to reschedule it. And in the meantime, you know, I try and make music every day. I feel like I'm lucky enough to have this be my job, and so I got to treat it like a 9 to 5 at least.
Yeah.
And get in here and work every day if I can.
Cool. Got any more questions, Doris?
I mean, we covered so much, man. I don't think I have any more specific questions. I just look forward to the release, and I definitely want to get one of those, just like maybe the bundle, maybe just like the whole short set and everything, because that's really cool. That champion collaboration. So for everybody listening, make sure you go pre-order right now so you can get the whole thing, the vinyl and all of the merch.
We'll have all the details below when we put this up for sure.
Thanks. Yeah, but we'll send you guys some.
Awesome. And definitely have you back on, you know, whenever you want. Maybe around finals time, you know, West LeBron, bring it home or something.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, I'm in LA, and you know, I can't root for any LA teams, but you know, I definitely would rather the Lakers win than the Clippers.
Yeah. So definitely, I mean, glad having you on. We'll definitely have you on anytime in the future. We'll gladly promote anything you guys got going on, and just keep it up. You guys have already been, obviously you guys have already been more successful than most artists would have even dreamed of being, but I think you guys can even take it to another level, and I think you guys have that sound that'll help you get there.
Thank you. Wow, that's super nice.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Always. So everybody listening in the future, peace. We'll have all the details down below where you can follow them. go cop some of their merch. We'll have some of their sounds, and yeah, check you guys soon.
Yeah, man. Thanks, everybody. Keep living life fearless.